ask you a question. What do you think a luxury adventure glamper van would look like? It's kind of a weird combination of words that haven't been met together in the same sentence before. Well, the good news, you don't have to think about it very hard. That's kind of what's coming into view behind me over here. Welcome, everybody. My name is Josh the RV Nerd. Welcome to Bish's RV. And this is the new Lineage VT series. This is on a Ford Transit chassis. There will be other van offerings from Grand Design's motorized division. Eventually you have like the VP ProMaster, VS Sprinter. This is the VT Transit. They went with this for a couple specific reasons. Like there's certainly some similar offerings out there in the marketplace. By going with the Transit, it has about 100 more horsepower to get you where you want to go, all-wheel drive. It also has a taller interior ceiling clearance. That's something that took me by surprise. I hate recording vans because I can't fit in them. I'm too big. I bash into everything. I hit my head on everything. But this one actually fits. It's got like a 6'4" floor-to-ceiling clearance. It's taller inside. It has a little more torque to get you where you want to go, that kind of thing. There's some really key clutch differentiating details that they put into this. They've called it their Aqua Haven. They've basically reinvented the middle bathroom on this because that's one of the worst things about B-Vans. B-Van bathrooms are terrible. I've totally laughed about them in many of my videos where my feet have to hang out of the thing. I don't have to do that here. They have an invisible induction cooktop that maximizes the otherwise limited counter space. It's the best counter space I've ever seen in a little coach like this. There's an optional pop top available. They have, actually, it's interesting that it's a gasoline burning furnace on this. So this is only electrical and gasoline. You don't also have to juggle propane. It has a huge battery system on it and a bunch of other really cool things. I'm going to be very curious to know what you think about this one. And if you appreciate how we get down here and give you a look at her, hit that subscribe button and let's go. And I just want to reiterate something because I think it's an awesome, exceptional quality on this RV. The headroom in this thing. I'm 6'1" flat foot. I'm wearing some thick-soled, heavy support shoes. It's got like a 6'4" clearance in here. And the reason that I want to stress that is most of the RVs built like an adventure van like this, they're on Sprinter chassis, which is cool. There's cool things about it. I'm not bashing Sprinter. But it's a shorter ceiling. And typically when I'm doing these videos, I'm ducking. I'm Scrooge McDucking the entire time. I actually get to walk around here. Also, the air conditioner setup in this is almost completely different from most things. And I think a lot of people are going to be begging the industry to start going more this way. It's like a mini split air, basically. You actually have your compressor down below the RV, and your blower system and whatnot is it's all up here. It's a 48-volt air system, but this also has a 48-volt Lithionics battery system to help run it. So when it's 48-volt to 48-volt, everything aligns, and it's more simple, direct, efficient, effective, and it's a very powerful air system. We'll talk about that more later. From the back of the coach, I don't know, RV, van, whatever you want to call this thing moving forward. My name's Matt Foley and I'm a motivational speaker. I can recite every word of Matt the Motivational Speaker to this day. And if you don't know who Matt the Motivational Speaker is, I would highly encourage you to YouTube that and thank me later. Enjoy. The general layout of this isn't like it's a van. There's only so much you can do with it. It's not necessarily earth-shattering. I do like how they recover the seats. I think it gives it a very nice look. But vans feel small and cramped. This has that taller ceiling, but they also added like a dual pane acrylic Euro window skylight. And the frontal viewing and the sensory of space that this gives me is so welcome. I really appreciate it. The big vent fan here, if you just want a nice breeze kind of rolling through all the time is great. The Transit gives us that large kind of infotainment center on the front side of this thing right here. Now, obviously, you've got your factory swivel seats right here. They didn't really need to muck with this chassis. One of the other things I like about the Transit chassis, most of your van chassis, other than like the E-Series, these van chassis offer Johnny Longlegs like me amazing legroom, which is something that I really personally appreciate. Now, if I swing you up here real slow, a couple things. This is our digital command system. What I love, we'll see it later, they gave us a secondary switch panel for the main functions that you're going to need every day. You don't necessarily have to always go digital on this, but having all these diagnostics available, like they can tell you everything you've done on this RV. This guy right here is actually our furnace system. I mentioned how this RV does not have propane. It is actually, I think the technical term is a fuel-fired furnace. Which is a little bit different from being fairly fluffy friendly in a bathroom that I normally talk about. It's a different 3Fs, but the fuel-fired furnace actually pulls off your gas tank on the RV. The good news with that is kind of like a lot of RVs that have onboard generators. It will stop pulling gas out of the tank when it hits a quarter tank, so you don't get stranded. Now, this is all they kind of like cloth touch and finish off all the cabinetry, because when you're going down the road, you're in the RV and you can hear the clickety clackety banging all over the place of stuff that's in your cabinets, and that greatly diminishes how much annoying noise that's creating here. Now I'm trying to be very careful and slide backwards out of the RV. Pardon me, I'm trying not to go backside over tea kettle. From your little sliding entry door, what are we looking at right here? I don't like to use fisheye wide angle lenses, so this is all, I'm going to call it true view effectively. Your bench seat over here will be changing slightly. So if you look at this right now, it has a pair of 3-point harnesses, you know, traditional automotive seatbelt situations. There are car seats that will accept 3-point harnesses, but the guy who runs this brand has a couple little kids himself, and he goes, man, I want them to have as safe of an experience as possible. So they're going to be adding the lap belts and the car seat harnesses up here just to provide 100% maximum safety. Now, the kitchen in this thing kind of blew my mind. I'm going to show you all the storage, and that's going to be like, it's nice. It's the other stuff they did that I was like, ooh. I would definitely recommend getting in the habit of closing this cabinetry behind you. That's a combination of habit and cabinetry, habinet, because otherwise you do have a lot of sharp little pointy edges. A little suggestion that I personally had, by the way, these cabinets you push and then pull to give you an idea. But I would love it if they had a light beam, an indirect glowing light beam right there to cascade light down onto my prep area and cooking surface. I think that'd be really smart. And you're like, what cooking surface? We'll get there, baby birds. I'll feed you. I guess this is kind of, in a sense, overhead bedroom cabinetry, but as long as I was opening all the overhead stuff, it felt really good. We're actually going to circle back and talk about this in just a little bit. But as we get down here, even this is still kind of part of the kitchen. It's kind of like a little mini pantry paper towel drawer solution, and that paper towel dowel rod can actually just be removed from there, like if you want to take it outside. Integrated wastebasket solution, I'm always a fan there. I mean, serious heavy duty cutting board cover on this. Like if you want to take this outside on that table to use that like a serving station, you totally could. These new high-rise, this is a waterfall edge and sprayer type faucet. You pop this thing in here and you go whip, and suddenly it becomes one instead of the other. I am a sucker. I don't know if it's a gimmick or what. I love that. It's the slow rise that gets me. It's a gas threaded spice rack, basically. A little contraband storage space. I think that is just very cool myself. I get very excited by that. And then again, every little thing they can. Notice this is all dovetailed drawer construction, by the way. All soft close. The larger aircraft style latches that we're looking at, push them in the middle, and I've found that they operate a lot better. If you try to push them from the edges, they just get a little annoying, you know. Big pots and pans drawer there, you know, very smart use of the space. But I mentioned invisible cooking surface. And you might be like, what are you talking about? So this is like actual, basically porcelain. There is an induction unit under this. And if you notice, you have this little dot right there. Now with induction cooking, you have to make sure you get induction specific cooking stuff. And that's what this guy is right over here. I have no idea if this is going to work. I've never tried this on camera. So I've got that sucker cranked right up here. The idea behind this, though, is that it will literally sense and detect. Listen. Like you hear that kick on. So it's currently heating. But the way induction works, this never actually heats up. It's only the pan and the water that heats up. Now, to help with the demonstrational purposes of this, I have intentionally put only a very small amount of water in there, so it'll take a little bit. It's going to take a little longer than I wanted to get boiling. All right. It's been 60 seconds. If I get you up close here, you can already, like literally 1 minute, and we've got, now it's obviously a very small quantity of water, but water boiling. So we've achieved the point where water boils, right? Watch this. Slide this off. Cold. Cold to the touch immediately. It's literally beeping at me right now. It won't turn back on until I put the pan on it. Wow! So this can be one full-size prep space or cooking surface, but it's safe. That is insanely cool. So show me another little adventure van that has that level of horizontal function space. I'll wait. Like, I'm just personally not really aware of one. Now, because they have these dual like van pop-out sides, they are able to achieve up to an 80-inch long bed. I want to say up to, because that's at best. It does, you know, around those pillars in the back, it does have to kind of wrap its way around. Now, this would actually work size-wise pretty good for my wife, because I'm long and tall. She's a little more gravity friendly, so she could sleep more on that door side of things, which is perfect for me because it gives me a chance to survive if the gas station murder hobo rips that rear door open. It gives me a one body buffer, and that's important, you know. Now, I'm joking, obviously. I love my wife. I will never get that lucky twice. This RV is not technically complete. The entertainment system's not put in place. It will actually come with factory standard shipping with it, a projection screen or a projector there actually. And over here, you see what looks like a blackout roller shade. That will actually be a power drop movie screen. So it will have projection entertainment back here, which I think is interesting and very cool. But I told you, I was all excited how they reinvented a bathroom. Well, we haven't really seen that. But if you look up top, it's like a rain shower style bathroom. The whole middle section of this is a bathroom. Most B-van bathrooms, I have to leave some stupid swinging door open to use because I'm too tall. And most B-van bathrooms, I can't even stand in them to take a shower if I wanted to. Well, all of that just changed with this one. When you go to shower, that becomes like your shower floor drain, basically, and it actually does drain directly into a gray holding tank. You'll notice on the outside, the RV does have a like a sewer outlet, but the toilet is a cassette toilet. It has a gray holding tank for your shower solution. And you're looking at this, you're like, what toilet? Well, that's what all this little, almost like garage style wraparound metallic enclosure stuff is going to do for us. First of all, I want you to know we are in crazy wide angle lens mode. I don't have a camera operator. I just set it on the countertop. This is the only way I can try to like show and demo this for you. So first of all, I mean, check out me standing in the shower here. Like, there's awesome room in this. I've never been able to do this ever in a van before. And maybe some other builder makes something like this where you can. I don't know. Maybe I've missed it. I am not a motorized amazing specialist, but this is where it gets kind of interesting to me. You have this whole little wraparound section right here to kind of close this off. That reveals our toilet. We're going to circle back to this in a minute. But what's kind of cool is then you wrap this section around and you fully enclose this space. So all the water is enclosed in here. There's nothing over here that can rot, mold, mildew. It's all plastic, glass, fiberglass, metallic. There's nothing that can get like water damaged as a result. So you have a truly fully enclosed bathroom. It is, I guess you technically call it a wet bath because the toilet and the shower are in the same room. I don't think that's a problem though, because again, you've got everything drains down here. And because they created this nice big open space, we actually have some shelving over here where I can get, well, not all of my hair care routine. Don't do my hair care routine. But for someone else's hair care routine, you have space for it. But it creates tons of room for you to actually use the toilet. Now, I've left that enclosure exactly where it was. So I'm going to try to slowly walk you through all the things that we have in here, but also still somewhat simulating the enclosed bathroom function. Obviously, we do have a full medicine cabinet. When that shower door is wrapped all the way around, hello, bald, ugly dude, that's where that shelving I was kind of mentioning kind of comes in play. You can see some spots and some slots down there. I wanted to get you in here, though, to show you the toilet space. Now, that toilet top, the whole bowl portion, basically can swivel. So you can sort of position it as is more comfortable to you. But look at the leg room, the shoulder room, the hip and elbow room I was able to achieve in here. It's just not the thing a B van has ever done for me. I just am, I kind of like this. I hope this works as well as it looks. So we're going to get a look at this thing all opened up. But first and foremost, I thought we'd take a look at it kind of closed up so you could see what it looks like kind of traveling down the road. Does it or does it not look a little bit like Inspector Gadget's van? I was a huge Inspector Gadget fan when I was a little person. And there's something about this where I can hear his voice talking to Penny back at the HQ, and Claw going... I can do the Claw voice, but it rips my throat up. Now, this is not the RV that we were just in. Basically, they're in, various stages of prototyping and trying a bunch of different things. Like, you notice this one doesn't have anything on the rear doors back there. This is the one that we're actually looking at today. So, good Lord, where do I even start with this? Okay, the light bar. There are certain states that require an enclosed covered light bar. This prototype doesn't currently feature it. Basically, it will have a powered, like a motor that can rotate that back around into an enclosure when this goes into production. And you can point the lights up at the trees if you want, or you can point them down right in front of you. So you'll have an angle powered directional light bar on the top. Obviously, we saw that big skylight inside of there. And again, that is that dual panel acrylic stuff, just like the windows. What's funny is they did temperature testing, and you think, oh man, a window, it's going to be a heat factory. They actually got less heat exchange, basically better insulation values with that skylight as compared to just the Ford factory metal, because there's pretty much just no insulative quality behind it. You look at this and you think, you think in RV terms, but in automotive terms, the ceiling liners don't have a ton of insulative quality to them. Again, going on the Ford Trans, oh, I like that. Is that the Raptor grill cover on that? That looks sweet. Makes it look like a Jurassic Park adventure van, which I think is kind of what they're looking for. You can hear Professor John Hammond going, "Spared no expense, blah, blah, blah." But they go with Ford Transit, has a little more torque, about 100 more horsepower, and being gas versus diesel, it performs a little bit better at higher elevations so they want you to be able to boldly go wherever the crap you want to go effectively. They do swap these out, the factory tires, with BF Goodrich VO tires. If you do some looking into those, what you'll find is they're really well rated for both highway use and off-road use. They're like that perfect little in-betweener. And because they add an extra 2-inch lift to give you some ground clearance to go some more places, they figure, you're going to want that extra wide step rail to get yourself in there. So they're really thinking and firing on all cylinders here. This table, a lot of these adventure vans have some kind of little table out here. I like how this one has this little swing out extension and an adjustable center leg. So it's very sturdy, very stable. Like if you need to push down on it to stand up, you can. And the adjustable Lego means, Lego? Yeah, Lego. I'm an idiot. Leg means if you're on any kind of weird terrain, you can go wherever you want. Now, we don't have the awning out right now. You can obviously see we can still enjoy the awning lighting. One of the smart things they did, like they have that digital command panel. But sometimes it's nice just to have buttons. So they added this extra switch panel for like all lights off, all lights on, your water heater, your max air vent fan, your awning open and closed. So you can just stand right here and pop the awning open if you want to, or close it up in case the wind pops in and not have to go digital with the thing. So when you need a little bit of a respite from the sun, you remember that level in Super Mario 3 where the sun was trying to kill you? Some days it just do be like that. Here's another little detail I love. We kind of peeked at it on the inside, and I'm sure someone else has done this, but any other builder of a adventure van like this that I've seen, when you, oh, man, it is kind of, man, the seal on that is no joke. It's a swinging fridge door, so it's always a pain in the neck if you're inside or outside. One or the other, it sucks. This slide open drawer style fridge, and I think it's kind of brilliant. You can use it from both sides. Like, that's just using your dipstick, Jimmy. These windows, we'll get a better look at one. You know what? We'll talk about the windows on the other side. I'll give you a better look at it over there. Let me, we've got a big old support beam in the way. Let me teleport to the back side of this sucker. And there she is, just phasing out of view. Another look at how much awning space you have over there. Actually pretty, and with, you know, this rides lower to the ground, so not having traditional RV awning arms, not bonking me in the head, I appreciate. I've got it in rolling, rambling, gambling cargo mode right now, and if you wanted to, you could just straight give this sucker a kayakoscopy right up the backside if you felt like it. This is kind of very similar to that marine woven kind of floor stuff. All of your electronics, all of your systems, all of that stuff is hidden away down here. This has a 48-volt, 165-hour battery system, Lithionics battery on it. The thing is, what I've kind of come to learn, and I'm still learning about this, don't get me wrong, Americans tend to think of things in terms of 12-volt. You hear 165 amp hour, running the air conditioner off that? How is that supposed to work? I'm not going to try to get overly technical with this. I'm going to try to give you enough information where if you're completely Greek to the electricity side of things, it'll maybe help give you a little bit of an understanding. Again, in North America, especially in the United States, we tend to think mostly in terms of 12 volt. This is a 48-volt battery system. This has a 48-volt, effectively mini split air conditioner system. So it's 48 to 48 volt. It's direct. There is no inversion interchange. There's no inefficiency loss, effectively. So that hundreds, you hear 165 amp hour, but it's 48 volts. In 12 volt terms, that's roughly equivalent to about a 660 amp hour battery system. That, when you start comparing that against other things you hear in other RVs, you realize this actually has one of the best battery systems available, and they do offer an optional second battery from the factory. It's also many thousands of dollars, but it could be very worth it to you. They did some testing indoors with zero solar replenishment with the second optional battery. They were able to achieve 16 hours straight on the air conditioner running on full tilt max crank, not like low cooling, but the worst case scenario, they got 16 hours out of it with the second factory battery. But again, it's a very expensive thing. So what they did is they made it so that that drawer under the bed, your storage drawer, can remove. They've already pre-prepped bracket space in there from the factory. It takes them 10 minutes to install that battery. I bet at one of our stores, it might take us 30 minutes because we just had to get a couple things out of the way since it's not already torn apart by the time we get to it. And you could install that on there. But with the cost, here's my recommendation from Uncle Josh. I would get it with the single battery first. Do a little bit of local short time testing, see how it treats you. You may not need to spend that many thousands of extra dollars on another battery, but 48 volt systems works very different from what we're used to, and it just has a massive capacity effectively. Now, a few other cool details here for you. Something I noticed coming at it from this direction, it made the indirect, I call it Tron lighting, under the countertop lines just so much more obvious to me because you're right at eye level with it. And I think it just gives it a very, very good clean look. When the bed's flipped up for cargo mode, it creates a really useful, I think, utility space right here. Also, I noticed there was this little guy and I was like, huh, what is that? Well, they give you a couple different ways of getting in this cabinet. Basically, it's a laundry chute. And I'm a fan. Anytime manufacturers give us a way that we can use yesterday, or a place to put yesterday's clothes now that it's today. Little details like that are very useful, very fun, very handy. And we're going to come back to this metallic, pseudo-phallic looking thing, I suppose. Let's talk about these windows. So they have 3 of these little, pop-out extension things. These are here in the back so that you can actually have an 80-inch long residential length sleeper. Obviously, it's not a true queen bed, but these windows right here open for extreme airflow. And they are, like, look at the thickness of this window right here. This is a true hollow dual pane. It's acrylic. So, you ever see a hockey game when the hockey puck and the sticks smack against the glass? It's basically the same kind of stuff that's much thicker. But if it gets scuffed up, you can effectively buff nearly anything out of it you need to. It opens up for some crazy good airflow, although thankfully we do have the ability, to fully privatize and keep the bugs out of here. Now, if you have a bug in here, then you close this, then you open those. Yeah, you have a bug inside the RV. It's just kind of how it goes. You got to think a little stuff like that. Now, another interesting little detail, where normally the factory spare tire comes on the transit chassis in the back underneath. But if you look in that location on this, you actually see the compressor. That's actually the compressor for your split air unit, whereas the blower basically is what's inside on this thing. And again, going off-road, you've got actually kind of 2 different sort of suspension packages going on here, because they had to kind of split the difference between rough riding on trails and highway riding and safe handling at higher speeds. So what we have here is on the front, you actually have like a coil kind of suspension. The idea being when you're going down highways or something like that, the front end soaks up most of those small highway bumps. The back end actually has shocks and helper springs. And what that's doing for us is, 1, it's providing stability at high speed so the tail isn't wagging the dog. But also when you hit those big bumps, the back end has that heavy suspension where you load the majority of your cargo to be able to soak the worst of that, so that essentially you're not always riding around either on the highway or off the road with your teeth rattling in your head. They also used, I've never seen this outside sprayer setup on anything ever. If you look at this, it actually has hot and cold functions, which I thought was very interesting, very cool. Cassette style toilet, which I know a lot of off-road style enthusiasts do tend to prefer. Then this thing on the back here, we got to talk about this, and there's a possibility it may be changing a little bit in the future. So where do we want to start? Let's start at the bottom. They wanted to ship a full-size spare tire with it, but because of the full-size tire's proximity to the tail light, it was just blocking a 45-degree view, which is a DOT safety requirement on the road. So Grand Design can't ship it from the factory with the spare tire on the back. But you can order one and you can put it on. I don't know why it's okay for one to do it and not the other, but that's the world we live in. The second thing is, you look at this, you think, oh, well, that must be the ladder, right? They can't, for some sort of technicality code reasons, they can't technically call it a ladder. And if they can't, then I can't. What I can tell you is I'm weighing 233.2 right now. I know, because I had a doctor's visit yesterday and I ain't proud of that number, but the fact is I was able to use it for roof access. So channeling my inner Judas Priest here, some Rob Halford, I figured I'd start breaking the law. What are we looking at up top here? You obviously got that Max Air vent fan just behind the skylight inside. 400 watt flex panel solar package on top, but you also have this full cargo rack. By not having an air conditioner on the roof, it creates a lot of extra space where they could do a lot of extra things. Now, back here, you notice this funky monkey little thing. This is a Starlink prep mount, effectively, is what that is right here. Now, if you wanted to, you see where you have all this cargo space. If you wanted to, on these racks, like this back tray section back here, you could add a bunch of solar to it, but they also have a really interesting solar option. And it comes in the form of the awning. There's an optional solar awning that you can get with this, so that when the awning's deployed, you're picking up to an additional 720 watts of solar. You have 400 standard watts of solar up there. I'm not a math, but I believe that's 1.12 kilowatts of solar potential on this thing. that ain't nothing. And where that solar awning option, I think, becomes even more interesting, not just in the conceptual theoretical nature of it, is when you go with the pop top option. The pop top option eats up a lot of roof real estate. And I don't know that I've ever seen a true two-person pop top on top of a Transit before. Most of the builders of stuff like this I see are on Sprinter chassis. So it's a little bit bigger, and it's physically larger space up in that pop top because you're not shrinking it to fight with an air conditioner. The trick is your cargo rack space, you can see, gets diminished pretty heavily. And when you get this option, you do drop down from 400 to 300 watts of roof solar on top of the pop top. So some things change there. Let me give you a quick peek inside. Now remember how I said they're in various forms of prototyping here through the factory. So the one that I'm standing in doesn't even have cabinet doors on right now, but it does have the pop top on it. It's literally, you just push it up. When it's ready, the struts hold it in place. You pull it down with these little straps that are coming into the screen over here. And it is, I tell you, if you could sleep 2 adults up here. It would be tighter. You would definitely need to know one another. It would be cozy, but most of the pop-top vans that I've seen do not actually sleep 2 people like this one does. A couple other more interesting things here. Let me give you more of a, straight on POV view. It's interesting. It's got like almost a second skylight in it up there. I'm guessing that's some sort of fire escape safety code thing. Another detail I discovered. Ooh, whoa, there's like a gator behind me back here. A Ranger, not a Ford Ranger, but one of the ATV styles. They actually do duct air up in that pop top. So that got me wondering, how well does that split air conditioner system work on this? Well, while I'm walking back to the other copy of this that I'm bouncing between today, I'll tell you, they have a full thermal chamber that they tested everything in, and they cranked it up to 110 degrees consistent and left it in there. That split air conditioner system was finding a 48-degree delta difference back in the sleeping area. That is way more than I'm used to hearing in conventional towable senses. So it's an extremely powerful air system. The thermal tech people said this is the best air system that we've ever seen in terms of how much temperature difference there is. In the front of the RV, they were still getting a 40-degree variance. Now, that's assuming 110 degrees. That's a pretty extreme test, In the pop top, they were still getting a 20-degree temperature reduction, which is, if it's 110 outside, it's 90 in that pop top. But again, 110 is a pretty extreme test. I think for the situations in which a lot of people are camping, that is not terrible. And then, just to kind of complete the visual, I realize we haven't really looked at the front driver's corner of it yet. I don't know what more you're going to discern from that, but I figure if you're considering purchasing the whole thing, you might want to see the whole thing. It does have a good look to it, doesn't it? So what do you think? Good, bad, ugly, in between. Like, where did they nail it? Where did they fail it? If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change any specific thing on this, what would you do with it? I'd be kind of curious to know. Now, naturally, some folks are going to be curious or serious about the price tag of one of these. Double check the links I leave you down in the video description. Typically, in Grand Design policies, we're not able to publish our actual asking price, which is frustrating. I don't like it either. But we'll at least probably have an idea of MSRP there for you. Now, we don't sell for MSRP. It's just the only thing that we can visibly publish. You contact our team, we can get you whatever. No big deal. We don't do hidden dealer fees. We don't do runarounds. But we do play by the rules. That means we play by the rules for you, too. If a dealership is willing to bend the rules one time, they're willing to continue doing it. And that's not where we want to find ourselves on that slippery slope. You prefer the pop top, the base version? Like, how would you go about one of these? Now, I've done some other kind of similar adventure van videos in the past. They're a little bit dated now, so keep that in mind. I'll leave you some links down to those if you're willing to take a look at one or two. Let me know which one you go with if your money was on the line and why. And until next time, thanks again, everybody. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.